this sizing. Hi guys, I'm hanging out with my bestie Tiff, and today we're talking about brushes. What works, what doesn't work, how to choose a brush, pricing on brushes. So say hi, Tiff.
Hi guys.
Alrighty, what you got for me?
So I see you have a many of brushes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you started doing nails some time ago.
Mm-hmm.
How were you able to acquire so many brushes?
Well, to answer that question, I got some little tags here, and I have some brushes that I like, some brushes that I love, and some brushes that I got to have. And when I was starting out to do nails, everyone was like, get a good brush, but nobody can really tell me what a good brush was. So I acquired this arsenal of brushes through a process of trial and error.
Okay. And what are those brushes made out of?
So the very first time let's see if there's one of them says, they all says Kolinsky, but there was the very first brush this one says Russian Stable Kolinsky Brush. So in the beginning, I used to think Kolinsky was horse tail. And through my research, I found out that it has nothing to do with horses. And do you want to see what a Kolinsky looks like?
Most definitely.
So this cute little fella or gal, I'm not sure if he's male or female. This is a Kolinsky. And the Kolinsky's brushes are made of some type of a material. They're either wood or plastic here. There's a metal binding that holds the brush together, and the brush bristles are right here. So once again, this cute little guy or girl is a Kolinsky. And we use, not me, the manufacturers use the tail of the Kolinsky to make your brushes. And the best brushes on the market has a combination of male and female Kolinsky tails. And the best combination that I've found through my research is that 60% blend of male Kolinsky tail and 40% of females make the best brushes. But if you're trying to find a brush that says a 60-40 blend, you're not going to find one. But when you do find one, you're going to know that you have one that is somewhere 60-40% because of the performance of the brush.
Can you show me which one of those many brushes that you have you would think is 60-40?
So yes, I have a few brushes. I believe this one, and I get this one at my local beauty supply store, was the very first brush that I thought, oh my gosh, this brush has superior performance, right? I'm going to show you. I went through a number of brushes, but when I found this one, I felt like I found a brush that had 60-40. There's a few of them. I believe this one, of course, everybody knows this red box is a not polished brush. I believe that one is a higher quality brush, even this one. But this brush right here, I found at my local beauty supply store, and I felt like, oh my God, this brush was amazing. And it picks up, and it has great performance. On-load, off-load, clean brush. That's what you want when you're looking for a brush.
Okay.
Easy pickup, easy offload.
And what is the importance of having a good brush? Why can't I just go out and buy any brush?
Oh my God, your brush is everything. Especially when you're learning to do nails, a beginner, like a true beginner. Having a really good brush will make the process of learning so much easier, simply because the brush will perform. So I had bought a kit. There was a little brush here somewhere. Here it is. This, if anybody has ever bought Kiss kits. You get them at like the Walmart or CVS, Walgreens. And I used to have a kit here, but I don't have one anymore. This brush came in that kit. Listen, guys, if you want to save your sanity, do not use this brush. This brush, I use it as a cleanup brush, like when I'm polishing, whether it's nail polish or nail lacquer or gel. I use this as a cleanup brush, but I absolutely would not use this as a acrylic brush. The performance is awful.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what that's made of, but it's an awful brush. That's an example of an awful one.
So, what about the prices? Do you have to have good money to spend money on these brushes, or what is my budget? What is the average?
So you can spend a whole lot of money. Like this one is my least favorite. Now it's a great brand. It's Whoopie Eye. I didn't like the size of it.
Okay.
It didn't balance well in my hand, and for some reason I felt like this brush was not stable enough, I would say, when I pick up the powder and stuff. Maybe I was not sophisticated enough at the time when I was using it, but it's a great brand. This is a very expensive brush. I believe this brush was like almost $60, but it's a brush I use the absolute least. So I would say I like it. I would put this brush in my like it category.
Okay. What are some of the important recommendations for brushes that you want to give your listening viewers?
So if you're a beginner, like a true beginner, I would say you don't necessarily have to buy a brush that is brand name. Of course, I have them. I have an Alpha brush. Everybody can tell I use this brush a lot. I have the Kiara Sky brush. I have the Not Polished brush, and these are all great brushes, but a little bit on the pricey side. And if you're not really committed to doing nails just yet, I would say hold off on these brushes.
And in your like it, love it, and gots to have it list, those 3 brushes, where are they going?
Oh, these 3 brushes is definitely going in the gots to have it category, but
Advancers.
well, I'm using it. I mean, I wouldn't spend the money on them if I was not sure I was going to continue doing nails, because they can be quite pricey for someone who's starting. This particular brush right here, these 2. Now, this brush will also go in my gots to have it. I bought it twice.
Okay.
Right? But this one I found at my local beauty supply store. Has no brand, but it's a superior brush. It didn't cost as much as these, but it performs just as well.
Okay. Your least favorite brush? The one that just like you said, like with this one, you said that it was big. It was the way you handled it. It felt like it was flimsy, not secure. But it's a very expensive brush.
It's a very expensive brush.
So you like the brush, but which one of these brushes would you be like, ugh, I can't stand? Would it be this little one right there?
Well, this little one is this is a cleanup brush. It's an acrylic brush, but I would not recommend this brush at all for applying acrylic. If I was supposed to categorize some more of these brushes, I want to say this brush came in one of my young nail kits, like when you buy the kits that you can try. It's a complete kit. This came in my kit, and there was another one that was Greg's favorite. And now, if you notice something about my brushes, they all have the same shape except for this one. And this one, I like it. I found another one at, I want to say Sally's. And that brush was the very first time I used a brush that is shaped like this. all I can say about it, it's different the way you put the acrylic down.
Can we get an example or a?
Sure. Let me see if I can find a tip somewhere. It was just different, and it's a difference that I like.
Okay.
Yes, it's a difference that I like, and let's see if I can. Let me get a longer nail so I can show you. It's a difference that I like, even though I don't use that brush as often because I have so many options. But it's a brush that I like to show because some people take a liking to different brushes for whatever the reason. And I just wanted to show that there's, it's crimped and it's flatter, and these are a little bit more bulkier, if you can see. Right. So I feel like it gives a lot of control, but it's a different brush. It's young nail, so we know it's a good brush, but I don't use it a lot because I have a lot of options. So it's just a different brush.
So as I see you using your brush, do you have to dip your brush back into the monomer to get it to release the powder once on top of the tip?
Okay, say that one more time.
So as I see you use your brush, right? And I see you put the bead down on the nail. When you're stroking the acrylic down, do you necessarily have to put your brush back into the monomer?
Not necessarily. So this is monomer and a polymer, and they work together. So when if I do like this and I put it down, there's nothing for it to mix with because the instant you put these together, they start reacting.
Right.
But sometimes for smoothing, people do that, and I even do it sometimes. But really, you need monomer and polymer to mix together to do the job. But sometimes if you need to move the powder down a little bit and you don't want the powder to stick in the brush, you will do like that, wet it again, and kind of move the liquid down like that. But sure, I mean, you could do that.
And with that brush, where would you put it? You love it, like it, or gots to have it?
This one, because I don't use it a lot, I would put it in the love it. I will put it in the love it category.
Okay.
Because I've tried all these brushes. This one, I used to live in Japan, so this was a brush that I found, and because I lived in Japan and I knew of quality of products that comes from Japan, I bought this brush. You can tell I use it a lot, and it was one of the brushes I used in the beginning, and I wasn't sophisticated at the time. So I would put my hand, dip it in the monomer, and I would tilt my hand all the way back so the monomer would run down. So this was one of my training wheel brushes. It was a great training wheel brush. It's on the pricier side, and this one will definitely go in my guts to have it category.
So I do see in your last couple of brushes that you have there that you have an extremely big brush. Tell me a little bit about that brush with the purple.
Oh, this one. So originally when I went to beauty school, I really bombed at nails at the time. And so I kind of left it to the side. And I've done everything in the beauty industry from makeup to extensions, a whole bunch of stuff. But nails is something I always wanted to do. So this guy Tony, who did my nails for many, many years, when I told him that I wanted to try nails again, he gifted me this brush, and it has a lot of sentimental value. It's a brush that he used a lot, and I guess this is what encouraged me to go back and try again to do nails. But this is like a 22, and I don't, it's way too big for me, but I keep this always because it was gifted to me by the guy, Tony. He's from Vietnam, who did my nails for a number of years.
Okay.
This is another brush. Can I tell you about this one?
Yep.
This is another one. This is also an OPI brush, Ultimate Big Boy, was very expensive. I just put it in a like it category.
Wow. Why?
I don't know. There was something about these brushes. I mean, and there are people, I mean, I don't know what to say is the reason why I didn't take to these. I just didn't.
Okay.
They were extremely expensive. I didn't take to them, and there were other brushes that I took to right away. I picked it up and it felt like it belonged in my hand. So it's a brand that I was first trained on, and maybe it's the reason why I did not pursue nails, because I couldn't master these brushes. Can't tell you the reason why, other than it didn't work for me. I prefer something that is now, if you notice, all these brushes are a lot shorter than these. I have a little bit more control with these brushes in my hands than I did with these brushes. Don't know why. I'm quite sure there are people who swear by them, but it's not a brush for me.
Would you say that your brush would be like a personal garment that you keep close and dear to your heart? I know you're also a stylist, so I know that your shares is something that's a very big, important part of your life. Would you say your brushes are the same?
Girlfriend, my brushes are like my toothbrush.
Okay.
So we definitely not going to share them. And I guess most people will feel that way. I'll show you something. This brush right here is my alpha brush. I do my nails myself now at this point in the game. And so you can also tell this brush was back in the day when I was having a hard time managing this. It's one of my trainer brushes. And I went through a lot of brushes, but I love, what was the question again?
Would you say that, you know, after using your brushes, are they like your personal garments?
Oh yeah, they're personal.
Very personal, very secure, like your shares.
So anything that looks like this, well, you can't use any of my brushes. Let's put that out there, okay? And I alternate between all of them, but anything that look disused, you can tell it has history with me. Don't touch them. Yeah, no, I wouldn't like it a lot if you use my brush. Those took me a long way.
So now that you have gotten really well with your nails, now that you are a top-notch professional with your nails, what is some advice that you can give some newbies, some new beginners that are just feeling a little bit discouraged, whether or not they can't find a brush, they don't know what to do? Do you have brushes that you now sell?
I do. I retail the one that I love these so much that I recommend them. I have a Facebook group, and in my Facebook group I have a lot of people who will be asking for recommendations, and I do recommend this one. And if you don't have a local nail supply store, and like I said, it's not a brand, so I can't tell you what to buy, but I do ship these. I think I've shipped them as far as Okinawa, actually, for one of the person in my groups. Yes.
And do you mind sharing your Facebook group for those that want to know and follow you on Facebook as well?
Yes, so my Facebook group is Entourage Nail Gallery, ENTOURAGE. Entourage Nail Gallery. It's a private group, so you have to answer the questions and we will invite you in. But yeah.
And how often do you go on to your Facebook group?
I'm on there practically every day. I post my work. Other people can post their work. I actually use my group for a lot of beginners who have a lot of questions, and you're watching videos and stuff like that, and you really can't ask the video a question, but they can inbox me a question and I'll go on and answer their questions.
So as we're finishing up our segment, give me the list of the top 10 brushes. Can you give me the numbers of the brushes?
So my personal size, that's a good question. A lot of people have different size brushes that they like to use. My brush range between a 10 and a 16. All right, so 10, 12, 14, 16 is the highest I will go to. So all of these brushes are 10s. This one, I believe, is a 14. Yes, and I haven't even used it yet. So that means I'm using the one that I'm actually using by Nat Polish is a 12. So I've used brushes ranging from 10 to 16, but my go-to will be 10, 12, 14.
And one more thing for our viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you show us how to correctly hold the brush in your hand? So like you're writing.
Mm-hmm. Most comfortable. And once again, anytime I purchase a brush more than once, you know I like it. I have two of these. I have this in a 10 and a 12. I only have the 10 with me right now because I think I have one of these at home. But if I bought it twice, it means I absolutely love it. This one is a number 10. I only bought it once, but it's very expensive, so I didn't buy it the second time. But it's still high performance, and I still use it regularly. Another thing I would recommend too is I recommend two brushes, especially when you're learning. It's the reason why some of the brushes I have them, two of them. When you're learning, sometimes the brush gets really dirty. And once the acrylic starts sticking to the brush, you know, you'll have to stop and clean it and stuff like that. So I usually have one that I can soak if one of them gets messed up.
And how do you clean your brush?
So, well, you have a couple of options. You have brush cleaner, which the verdict is in or out on the brush cleaners. Brush cleaner is supposed to be monomer and acetone mixed together. Sometimes I do straight acetone if I'm gonna soak my brush for less than 5 minutes. Like if I have something that I can see right here and I'm doing like this and I can't get it off, I'll stick that in acetone for a minute or so to get it out. Acetone could be a little bit drying. So acetone could be a little bit drying, and so you don't want to overexpose your brush to acetone. But I want to show you, I'll be remiss if I don't show you this. And I wasn't planning on opening this anytime soon, but I guess I'll have to show you right now. When you purchase a brush, the brush comes like this. You can feel it. It's a little bit hard, right? It's a little bit hard. That's because there's some starch in there. And the starch is in there to keep the shape of the brush. And you have to literally clean that out. And then once you take this thing off, do not try to put it back on because it'll back up the bristle. It could back up the bristles, right? And it will ruin your brush. So once you take it off,
that's it.
Right. So I don't know if you can see this powder stuff that is coming out of the brush. You really want to clean that off.
Because it can contaminate your acrylics, right?
Well, it's a starch, and the only purpose of it being there is to keep the brush in shape so that it arrives to you in shape. And you really want to get all of that out. Some of the brushes, some of the manufacturers will say after you get it out, you should wash them off in soap and water. And I do, and then I reshape it, and then I would use them. So that's what we do. That's what we do with the to clean and use your brush.
Okay, so one time for our viewers, to sum it all up, getting a brush that's not very expensive is just as good as getting a brush that is expensive. And your brushes are like your personal products.
Right.
You keep it near and dear to your heart. And the sizes of the brush is what makes you comfortable as a nail tech.
Right. And to